Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me today. It's Allan Laboucan with the Rocks and Stocks News Show. Thank you for joining me for my weekend show. It's Sunday night around 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Sunday, the 28th of September. And I got lots to talk about. Got some stock picks that I see some interesting things happening with. And I'll get started with gold. Gold, I think, and for that matter, not only gold, but silver. You can see this recent rally here. They're sniffing out stagflation. I've been talking about stagflation problems for about a year now, and they're just getting worse and worse. I don't believe a lot of the what the government tells you about the statistics tell you about. I think they overstate the actual jobs and economic growth and understate the inflation. So I've been seeing real problems with that since for quite some time now, and I predicted that in the not too distant future we were going to see more people talking about stagflation, even though about a year ago Powell said he didn't see stag or inflation. That's because he believes in those made up numbers that the government comes out with on employment and jobs market. And now we're seeing the ramifications of ignoring reality because the jobs market is imploding. Now the Federal Reserve has to throw the inflation under the bus and to try to support the jobs in the economy. But as usual, they won't be able to do anything about that because it's not they don't really have the tools. It's about the health of the economy and the corporations and with all the inflation and all these various different tariffs, taxes, the tariff tax, the terrible tariff tax, the spending junkies in Washington. Trump was supposed to be better than Biden. Well, the only thing he's better at is creating more debt and more deficits. And so, that goes back to my all original argument or what I always talk about, which is what's driving the gold price for the long term is the death spiral of debt. And it's only getting worse. The cost of servicing that debt is now becoming the straw that will break the death camel's back. And that's one of the reasons that Trump and Percent are whining to the Fed to lower interest rates because they know how much it's costing the government to pay for, to cover the cost of servicing that debt. Instead of what they should be doing is cutting spending. But God forbid they do that. They don't talk anything about that. So, the only protection for that death spiral of debt is to follow the lead of the BRICS nations. They're all loading up on gold because they see that the fiat currency and the debt system is broken. And so if the fiat currency and debt system is broken, your only saving grace is to be in the gold and silver. And now that the stagflation is kicking in and gold, silver, and the precious metal stocks are all sniffing it out. Now's the time to be preparing. Should have been preparing before, but the generalists out there are underprepared, especially in the West, for what's really happening with stagflation and the debt problem. And I think these will drive gold much higher. And stagflation is good for gold and silver. Wow, fantastic for gold and silver. So I expect those to keep being bullish for gold. Um, some of the things happening on the reporting this week. Government shutdown negotiations are ongoing. This has short-term effects because, you know, people actually believe they might shut the government down, which they won't do. at the last minute they'll come to some sort of negotiated way to keep spending money. That's what they do, whether they're on the left or the right. Some important news this week will be the JOLTS report, so that gives you an idea how the jobs market is doing, and then non-farm payrolls at the end of end of the week. So could be some fireworks based on those things, but we'll keep a close eye on it as we always do. And on that note, let's get into some picks and news and what's moving and shaking. On Friday afternoon, about 30 minutes prior to the market closing, McEwen Mining put out a news release because they had found out that they had been accepted into the large investment proposal or uh, uh, program called REGI, and it has a very big impact on the project's economics. And been waiting for this, and you know, it looked like it came out of left field a little bit. Not that it wasn't expected, but the timing of it just on a Friday afternoon with like 30 minutes left in the stock market trading. So I quickly got Rob McEwen on the phone and recorded an interview, and you can find that on my YouTube channel. I just put it out yesterday morning, and we go into that. We go into the news about the International Finance Corporation also accepted them to. They're doing a cooperative effort, and Rob and I talked a lot about that in the interview, and so have a look at that. But I keep stressing that this is one of the premier value proposition picks that I have. The combination of what they're doing on their junior gold mining business, and now these important milestones for the copper project as well, one of the world's top 10 undeveloped copper projects. We need a lot more copper mines. Um, the supply chain is strained, and it's only going to get more strained because the production isn't increasing, hardly keeping up with current demand. And then you start layering on top of that, you've got AI, you've got cryptocurrencies, you've got cloud computing, you got robots coming out, got electric vehicles. All of these things need a lot of copper, and the copper miners can't provide that. So we need more new copper mines. And this Los Azules, looks like exactly what the Dr. Copper ordered. And so take a look at that interview that I did with Rob and watch this stock closely tomorrow morning, because I think that we could see some pretty bullish action on it as the people have had the whole weekend to look it over. This is really big news for the development of that copper project. So there you go. That's a McEwen. All right, next company up is Goliath. Goliath is my highest conviction uh, high-grade gold explorer with an important discovery. And during the week, they announced that they're doing a $23 million financing. It has no warrants attached to it. It's a bought deal financing, and they got to sell the stock at $4.30, and the stock closed on Friday, as you can see, at $3.13. So, um, yeah, it's at a premium. The reason they can have it at a premium is because the project is such a high quality project. The biggest thing that I'm a believer that a picture tells a story, and go to their website, look at their news releases, and you'll see a map there with the distribution of all the visible gold in their Golden Mountain in the Golden Triangle of British Columbia. It is just mind-boggling, actually. I've been following gold projects in the Golden Triangle since I was in my teens, like 30, 35 years ago. And this is, I've never seen anything like this in the Golden Triangle other than the great Eskay Creek mine that was just a phenomenon that really put the Golden Triangle on the map. And now this is, 30 some years later, is looking very, very impressive. And they got a whole bunch of assay results still to report. So, they're going to have news flow for the next 8, 10 months until they start drilling again in the spring of 2026. Uh, so that's what they announced, and as you can see, the stock in 2025 started out at about $1. It's been in a beautiful trend up to $3. It closed that on Friday. As you can see, the stock spent most of the time above the 50-day moving average. Like a lot of gold stocks, they a lot of the gold and the gold stocks, they got down around their 50-day moving average before gold recently broke out. And well, it was a combination of gold breaking out and also good assay results from their drilling. And it broke out quite significantly as well. This is why you look at gold stocks over gold. Gold went up, popped up, what, 4 or 5%. This one popped up 50% from this sideways action. That's why you look at gold stocks over gold. And I don't really think average investors need to worry about who's going to look after the gold market, the gold price. The central bankers are going to keep on buying more and more gold because the smart ones realize that the fiat currency and debt system is broken, and the only cure for it is gold to back their own currencies and their debt up with. And so that's very good for gold stocks because they'll keep moving the price of gold up, and as they keep loading up on gold, and that's rocket fuel for the gold stocks. So if you like a high grade gold discovery that looks like it could be a future very profitable mine, take a look at Goliath. All right, next company is, Kirkland Lake Discovery Corp. They announced a $7 million financing, and then this week they also announced that they've upsized that. Um, the word I got is that it's completely filled now, um, and that that will give them the money to aggressively drill on a huge target. I just had an interview with their key management. You can find that on my YouTube channel. And we went over in quite detail the size of the prize or the size of the target, and it is massive. It's got a sort of a central core, and then all around it is big geophysical anomalies, and a lot of sampling has been done, and there's good grades of metals all around this big egg-shaped anomaly. And now they've drilled into it, and they've hit sulfides, and now they're awaiting the assay results. And this money will put them in a great position to get after because they got a lot of drilling to do. They're just target rich. They got massive amounts of targets. Again, I talked about this a lot in that interview that I did with management, so go check that out. But I'm really impressed with the way the stock's been performing since they started drilling, and they had a significant breakout. They went through a golden cross, Since then, the trajectory of the 50-day moving average is very impressive. Also impressive is the way that the stock just consistently stays well above that 50-day moving average. When I see the 50-day moving average moving up at a trajectory like that and pulling the 50-day or the 200-day up, I get really excited because that usually means there's a lot more blue sky ahead. And then for an explorer, you got to look at, well, what are the catalysts? Well, the catalysts are that they drilled holes and those holes are assays are pending. So if it comes out like I think it will, that's the fuel to the fire, if you will. And yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing with KLDC. In fact, I increased my position this week, and at an average of about 32 cents. So it's 36 cents, but I didn't buy this stock because I thought it would go up 4 cents on a 32-cent stock. I bought it because I think that they're going to make an important discovery. And if it is that, then there's lots of blue sky and it'll be game on. And I think they've got a great one here. So take your look at KLDC, Newfound Gold. They had some really good results out, and the stock moved up quite nicely. Let me pull the news release up so I can give you the highlights. Newfound Gold confirms at surface high grade core in iceberg excavation channel sampling program. Highlights. So they opened up the veins, and now they're going in and they can cut those veins that they've drilled underneath and hit high grade. So now they can show that they're getting high grade right at the surface. 64.8 grams per ton of gold, 23.9 grams, 113 grams, 47 grams, 23, 117. Melissa Render, who's the president of Newfound Gold stated, and I quote, our recently completed channel sampling program has further demonstrated the continuity of at-surface high-grade gold mineralization across 185 meters of continuous exposure at Iceberg, one of the zones we have targeted for phase one custom milling in the Queensway preliminary economic assessment. The ability to map and channel sample this and other key zones at Queensway is an important step in de-risking the project. As in the early drilling of Iceberg, channel sampling returned broad intervals of coarse, high-grade gold mineralization. We look forward to following up this work with detailed grade control drilling to inform our geostatistical analysis and continue our channel sampling program at the Lotto excavation, end quote. So a lot of times when a company's doing exploration, they do these channel samples and surface samples, and then they drill and hope to find something. These guys have drilled underneath it, and then they stripped away the material from the surface to get down to the actual veins, and now they're cutting channel samples into those and seeing just really impressive grades in there. So kind of a flip of the way usually things are done, but this is really helping them to target what they're doing at depth and also to prepare for the upcoming mining that they're talking about. And here you can see aerial photo looking south of Vicksburg and Keats excavation. So they've stripped away everything right down to the bedrock, and that's where they're hitting the veins that they're sampling. And look at these are some beautiful looking veins here. And so, yeah, really interesting. The market liked it. Stock was up, as you can see, 15.49% on Friday to $3.43 or up 46 cents. I picked them. I gotta do my homework on my own picks, but I'm pretty sure I picked them when they were down around $2. So it's recovered a lot, like this Golden Cross, like how much it's moved up. They got a lot of good news ahead of them. So stay tuned as this company moves towards a production scenario in the near term. Okay, Foran Mining. Um, I don't really have any news to talk about regarding Foran since the last time I talked about their news, which was that they're about over halfway complete of building their new mine. And as been making progress on that, the stock has been performing very strongly. As you can see, it broke out through the 50-day moving average, went right through the 200-day moving average, and I think it's only a few weeks away from going through a golden cross and then higher as they get closer to bringing it into production. It's going to be a great mine, really profitable. They're going to make a lot of money off of this. And it falls into one of my areas that I love to follow companies. I've had good success in the last few years. I picked Silvercrest before they went into production. I picked Mag Silver before they went into production, and their stock they both turned out to be at premiums from where I picked them and got taken over. So I love seeing these companies when they're doing that. And Foran is at that what we call the sweet spot of the right side of the Lassonde curve. As if you don't know what the Lassonde curve is, there's two basic big moves when a discovery is made and when a project goes into production. But in between those is what's called the development discount window. And so kind of companies get kind of ignored during that time. And so their stocks can drift down. And then just before they bring it something into production, it often ramps up prior to and then goes up a lot from there. And I think that's exactly what you're seeing with Foran. And they'll be bringing it into production in 2026. And it sounds like everything's on schedule to do that. You don't have very many opportunities like this because there's not enough mines being built. Basically, whether it's copper, gold, silver, there's not a lot to choose from when you're looking for a company that's at that sweet spot just before it goes up the right side of the Lassonde curve. Now, just so you have some confidence of what's happening, Pierre Lassonde himself is a big investor in Foran, as well as Agnico Eagle, which is my top major mining company pick. And they have a project that looks a lot like what really was the company maker for Agnico Eagle. And so Agnico Eagle owns a bunch of stock in Foran because they know these kind of deposits very well. And so, yeah, there you go. That's the Foran story. Um, let's take a quick look at a few more companies. One of them is, I really like this company a lot. Golden Cross. They've come down to the 50-day moving average. The last time they did that, they had a pretty good rally off of it. And I think you're going to see the same thing happen here because they've got a bunch of assay results pending from their drilling that they've been doing on their project that's not very far from it's not very far from one of the greatest high-grade gold mines in the world, Fosterville. And Southern Cross is right next door to them, and Southern Cross has a high-grade gold discovery. Starting to call it the Fosterville 2.0 story, and they're right beside them. And so now they're drilling on the same kind of target in the same kind of rocks, and I think they're going to make a discovery. And if they do, this valuation will go up significantly because of where they are, what's around them, and what they're looking for is very high grade. So, yeah, take a look at AUX, Golden Cross Resources. Um, I recently listened to the CEO of Alamos Gold, and I was just so impressed with the way that the company is making free cash flow because they have a low cost of production and they have a high margin. And so it's creating records in free cash flow. But what I'm most impressed with is how they're using that free cash flow to create more free cash flow with increasing their production and bringing down their cost. So I wrote some notes down, and I'll just let you know what they are. They sold off their Turkey assets, which they had previously written off, and so they weren't getting any value out of them. But they sold them for like I think the price was like four or $500 million. So that will give them a bunch of cash so that they can pump that back into the business. Um, they are around 500,000 ounces of gold production with less than a cost, the lower than the average cost of gold miners in general. But they're having huge success with their exploration drilling, and that is a sort of a um, corporate culture for the company. They know how important exploration is for a mining company, and they're very good at it. Not all mining companies are good at exploration. Eagle is, or sorry, Alamos Gold is. Um, and so they're on a path to increase production and lower costs, bringing the cost down to $1,100 per ounce. And that's in 2020, early 2027. So they're making the efforts to build the production up while also bringing costs down. They are already a low cost producer, but they're going to be around $300 or $400 less than the average cost of gold miners producing gold, which is just, it's a phenomenal company. Um, they're so good at their exploration that to find gold only costs them $30 per ounce, uh, which is extremely accretive. Uh, and they talk about exploration being in their DNA. They got lots of room for organic growth that revolves around exploration. Their exploration budget is around $60 million in 2025, and they expect to do about this same in 2026. I heard the interview or ask him, well, are you guys interested in getting into the mergers and acquisition business? And he said, no, we don't really need to because we can grow our production and bring down our costs organically on our own projects. And so that's really what their focus, their free cash flow on spending is to increase, double their production while also significantly bringing down their costs. Alamos Gold is like one of the best gold mining companies I can think of. And Yeah, take a look at Alamos Gold. Equinox. Equinox Gold, I also listened to an interview of them recently. And when you listen to them talk about how they're increasing their production with the ramp up at their Greenstone mine and the ramp up at their Valentine Lake mine. And then you consider the costs of producing gold from those two mines and their other operations and the free cash flow. They're going to be producing about a million ounces of gold a year uh, next year. And next, let's say 15 months or something like that, year and a quarter. And when they're doing that, they're going to be just making tremendous amount of free cash flow. I mean, you look at the price of gold right now, and if you just use today's prices, they'd be making, about $1 billion in free cash flow a year. which puts them into a great situation going forward. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of Equinox. They've recently, since they put the future of the company in Hall's hands, the company has been firing on all cylinders. The previous management leadership was having problems at the bringing the Greenstone mine into full commercial production. Darren Hall went in there, fixed all the problems, was recognized for it immediately, and the stock broke out quite dramatically. I picked it right around here at around $9 or something like that. It's now trading at 15 very quickly. I didn't really pick them because I thought that, the stock would go up by 50, 60, 70% quickly. It's a play to me that I think will grow into a significant mid-tier producer that makes a lot of money. And so, yeah, I'm a big fan of Equinox. Have been for a few years, actually. I think I originally picked it at like $6 or something like that a few couple years ago. But yeah, there you go. That's the story on Equinox. Okay. AMX. Amex is a sponsor of my shows, my reports, and they've had a lot of really good developments to talk about lately over the last 6, 8 months. And that had to do with how they're going to bring their Piron project in Quebec into production. I'm just blown away by the quality of their champagne zone there. It's very rare to have a high grade gold project that has a resource on it of about a million ounces of gold with an average grade on 800 and some thousand of those ounces. The average grade is 16.2 grams per ton of gold, and the rest that's in the inferred has a grade of about 10 grams, but that needs to be drilled off more and converted into measured and indicated. And when they did that, because originally most of it was inferred, when they upgraded to 800 and some thousand ounces in measured and indicated, their grade went up by about 3 or 4 grams because these high grade deposits, they need to be drilled off pretty significantly. And in their case, as they've been drilling it off, the grades are going up, and so it's a phenomenal project. It's got a lot of gold on it, about 2.5 million ounces on all their various different zones, and the room to keep growing those zones, including at the Champagne zone. And they got a path towards bringing it into near-term production. One catalyst is to do a bulk sample on it. Secondly, that they're going to be doing a preliminary economic assessment to assess toll milling of just the Champagne zone. So, because they're in an area where there's mines all around it in the Abitibi region of Quebec, there's a lot of mills around there that need feed to bring up their bring their up to full capacity. And so when they run better that way, and so they're in a unique, they've got a unique project in a unique jurisdiction and unique infrastructure. They're right beside the town of gosh, the name Normantal, and that was built for mining. And the power plant that operates the Casa Berardi mine is like within 5 kilometers of their project. And so they got great infrastructure, they got a great project, they got great optionality to be able to look at milling, custom milling near them. And so they'll do that. They're going to do a preliminary economic assessment to assess that. And then the idea is to use 2 or 3 years worth of production in a toll milling situation to then fund them building their own mill on their own project property. And so that's a very, not all companies have that opportunity to do that, but because of where it is and because of the grade it has, this is a viable opportunity, and they're going to assess how viable it is with the preliminary economic assessment. So the company has lots of news coming out. Do your homework on Amex. I'm a big fan of the company, and that's what I got to say about Amex. Vizsla Silver, another sponsor of my shows. I thank my sponsors all the time because they enable me to do the work I do and provide it to my audience at no charge. And so I keep really close eye on my sponsors, and Vizsla Silver has a tremendous project, silver development project with high grade near a highway in Mexico. It's got great economics on it through a preliminary economic assessment that was done when gold and silver prices were much lower than they are now. So they'll be going up the confidence level by doing a pre-feasibility study and more economic evaluations. And I think they're going to pass the test with flying colors. And the market seems to agree with me. And this is really the making of the next great uh, major silver mining company. Their project, in my opinion, is a silver unicorn type project. You just do not see these kind of things very often. And it's just an exceptional project run by a world-class team of mine builders and mine financiers, and I think they've got a very bright future. And take a look at Vizsla if you're interested in a silver mining company that's going to grow into a very large one very fast. All right, another sponsor. On a sponsor kick today. Well, I can't help it if they're making good news and doing good things. Borealis Mining is a sponsor, and I'm a shareholder of the company. They're really hitting on all cylinders lately because they're getting close to, well, they're building the company into a new junior gold miner in Nevada. There is not very many of those that are coming online when the price of gold is where it's at. And they've got a staged way of doing that. Like, for example, the Borealis mine that was in production in the past, it has an ADR plant on it so they can process and produce doré bars right on the property through their ADR plant. They had a stockpile of material that was just abandoned, basically, and they're doing some toll crushing of that, putting it on the leach pad. Then they'll extract gold from that, and then they're also working on amended permits to their current permits for the known pits that they have. They want to expand those and start bringing new material onto the leach pad. And then they're doing a lot of exploration work as well. They've also been in the mergers and acquisition because there are some projects out there that are too small for the major mining companies. In reality, they're too small for the mid tiers as well, but they're potential company makers for a junior miner like a Borealis. So Borealis has been out there and got sort of consolidating some of these smaller projects. I'm a big fan of the team that's running the company, the board of directors, the shareholders. You got people like Rob McEwen, one of the legends in the mining business, Hall of Fame member. He's even been awarded the Order of Canada due to his successes in mining and as a philanthropist. He owns about 15% of the company. And so, yeah, they got a lot of great things going on with the company. And I think it's on a growth profile to become an important junior gold miner in Nevada that's sort of bringing it into production now, and we'll ramp it up into the future. So do your homework on Borealis. Check them out. They've only been trading since about August of last year, so a little over a year from now, and they're really starting to catch attention as people are. They were quite an undiscovered gem for quite a while, uh, during the early part of this year, but since the summertime, a lot more people are paying attention, and I think they should because I think they've got a great future ahead of them to grow into a much larger junior gold miner and possibly even a mid-tier. Aztec Minerals announced an $8.7 million financing right on the heels of some tremendous or tremendous drill results that I talked about on one of my earlier my shows from this past week. Yeah, I like what I'm seeing from the drilling. I'm liking what I'm seeing that they can raise a lot of money so they can go in there and drill it aggressively. When you see those kind of grades that they're hitting, that's what is warranted. And I really like what I'm seeing out of their project in Arizona. And yeah, do your homework on Aztec Minerals. They've recently broken out quite nicely. And with the money that they're raising, they're going to be able to do a lot more drilling. And so they'll be able to have a lot of catalysts coming up. So it's a good time to take a look at Aztec Minerals. All right. Now, the next company, Argenta, um, they had news out recently with just spectacular results. And I'm a huge fan of this company. In fact, I bought some stock recently. I'm probably going to be trying to increase my position. And I'm just really impressed with the way the company has performed since they first started trading. It's done the cup and handle and now had the breakout, and they've done a lot of drilling. They got a bunch more assay results to come out. And yeah, I think Argenta it's a rare thing to find a company explorer that has a high grade silver only project. There are not very many of those. Usually, silver is mined as a byproduct of gold or copper or other metals being mined. There's not very many that are just silver mines and high grade silver mines at that. Even in the high grades, usually there's high grade gold associated with it as well. But to have a high grade silver project and they're getting thick intersections of very high grade, I think they've got a future mine on their hands, and it will be a free cash flow machine of a mine. Take a look at their website, and you can see the last news release about the grades that they talked about, and also uh, go to my YouTube channel, and you'll see where I talked about them recently about the recent news that they had out. So, yeah, take a look at AGAG. The next and final company today is Pacifica Silver Corporation. They really just came out of the block in the last few months and have traded up quite nicely. Now, it's very unusual for a brand new company to have such a stellar roster of investors that they have other mining companies investing in them. They have some of the most marquee high net worth individuals investing in them. And it's because of the quality of the project. They've got a cluster of veins on their project that are underexplored. They're currently doing a drill program now. They'll be going right to the end of the year, have a little break for the holidays, and then right back at it. and that will keep them busy for months and months. They are doing right now an 8,000 meter drill program. The company only has 77 million shares out, and they've got $10 million in cash. So I think they're only trading at about 3 or 4 times their cash position. Don't quote me on that. Do your own homework as always. But they got a lot of cash for a junior, and you can do that on for your calculation. And so I look at the quality of the project, and I can see why some of these marquee groups are wanting to get shares in Pacifica Silver. And yet they still have a lot of drilling to do and a lot of assay results to come out. And so, it's a good time to take a look at them. I noticed just in the last couple of weeks, 10 days to 2 weeks, stock has been kind of flatlining. I love these basing periods because, especially when they've got catalysts, right as a basing period is happening, which this company does. And I look at the quality of the project, and I don't think they're going to have any problems whatsoever delivering really market moving kind of results. And so do your homework on them, check out what they're doing, check out their corporate presentation. You'll see all the important groups that came into their to fund their exploration on their project. And yeah, it's a really good one for you to take a look at and do your homework on. Okay, that's it for the weekend show. As always, do your homework. Speak with your financial advisors before making any investment decision. That means not whether just in mining, any investment decision. You should always do your homework. The best investors are the most informed investors. I try to help people get informed on companies, but you got to do the same. And I think that's a recipe for success. On that note, have a great day and evening, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.